What's going on, everybody? It's Matt here. Just wanted to hop on here before we get started and address one thing. That is that we unfortunately had some audio issues this week. So bear with us on that. I apologize. But either way, still a really good conversation. We talked with David Giarrizzo from Tag and Brag. So hope you guys like it. Hope you can get something out of it. Let us know what you think. We've been appreciating all the feedback. And let's get going.
After the first time I was drawing, he was behind me. The beans were so tall I couldn't shoot. And then he gets to that other side. I'm already full draw.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know why I asked Dean if he was on him or not, because my mind was already made up. Like, I got a missile locked, and he's freaking see you later. So I look back at Dean, and he was like, "What was that?" And I'm like, "Dude, I just roasted that thing. Just roasted him."
Welcome to the Just Hunt podcast.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Just Hunt podcast, episode 30. And today we have a cool guest I'm looking forward to talking to. I've been following him and his brother's content for a while now. And we have David Giarrizzo on from Tag and Brag. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having me on. I'm looking forward to chatting as well.
Yeah. I was interested in getting you on, obviously, because I followed your content. And I think actually you were just saying we're just in North Dakota, but I think I first found your stuff was years ago, your North Dakota content, because I was hunting in South Dakota, and I was, I feel like when you go to a new area, you like go and jump on YouTube, and you're like, Dakota's deer hunting, and I think your stuff popped up, and I was watching, that's cool, and I'm like, oh, these guys are from New York, or at least they hunt in New York. I don't know, where are you actually from? I'm like,
we're from east side of Cleveland, Ohio, but
gotcha.
our proving grounds up in New York is literally like an hour and 40 minutes from us.
Okay.
So my grandparents have a lake house up there. We grew up there, going up there in the summertime, like literally my whole life.
Yep.
And my grandfather started with like 40 acres, like 10, 15 minutes outside the lake up there.
Yep.
And we've grown it into a couple hundred acres now, and food plots and the whole nine yards, land management and all that stuff. So that's kind of our home hunting base, I would say.
Okay.
And the proving grounds and stuff that we do most of the work on.
So you grew up in Ohio, though?
Yep.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just spent a lot of time going back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, people don't realize how close some of that stuff is.
We'll literally go up there for an afternoon hunt if the cameras are telling us, like, it's time, It's like, and that's what's kind of nice about being in Ohio or being back and forth right there, because like between the two states, we each have 3 different buck tags. Mm-hmm. And so you can kind of play off the cameras, and especially when the going gets good, you can be one place in one state in the morning, and you can be the next state in the afternoon, and try and take advantage of both.
Yeah. Did you, growing up, is that where you hunted mostly? Okay.
Yeah, we didn't. My brother and I, we didn't even start hunting Ohio until we were in like high school.
Okay.
Maybe late high school.
Okay.
And that was just because we were at the point where we were like trying to explore our own hunting at that point, and it was like we just wanted more out of it, outside of like just going up. Because when we were growing up, my dad, my uncle, they'd pick us up from school on Friday, and we were going up to New York to hunt for the weekend. So it was like a weekend thing. And once Dean and I grew up to a point where like we could do stuff on our own, it was like we wanted to take advantage of more time in the woods. So now we could explore, we got some permission pieces around town, and now we could go jump in a tree right after school. And it was like, all right, now we're hunting 6 or 7 days a week as opposed to 2.
Right. Yeah. No, it makes sense. And then when did you guys start hunting South Dakota or North Dakota, and how'd that come about?
This will be our 13th season up in North Dakota, and I met a guy in a bar down in Nashville, Tennessee, about 13 years ago, maybe 14 years ago at this point. And literally anybody who's been to Nashville, I met him at Losers, which is right in Midtown there, and it's like it was a Saturday night. I mean, wall to wall people, like sardined in this place.
Surprised you could even hear them.
Yeah, well, I'm like sneaking my way up to the bar to try and get another drink, and he sees me like cramming through people, and he's like, "Hey, come here." and he was standing at the bar. He kind of opened up a spot for me. I grabbed a drink, and one of the two of us had like a camo phone case, and we instantly were like, hey, do you hunt? And we started, bullshitting about hunting, and one thing led to another. About an hour and a half and multiple cocktails later, he's like, you should come up and hunt my soybean farm up in North Dakota. And this is right when Dean and I were starting Tag and Brag. So I'm talking to him all about that. I'm talking to him about bow hunting, and they duck hunt up there, they rifle hunt, but they were not accustomed to bow hunting at all.
Yeah.
So like the archery side of things definitely intrigued him very much. And so we were, I was kind of filling them in with the archery side of things. I was filling them in with just how I hunted and what I like to do. And it was outside of the season that they utilized their land. So he was like, yeah, come on up and hunt. And we exchanged numbers. I called him like a week later, and I'm like, hey, remember me? Like, were you serious? It was literally, that's how it was. I was like, were you serious about that? And he's like, yeah, come on up. So same thing. I just started doing my research, and at the time, like everything I was looking at online was like, man, the North Dakota whitetail numbers are way down. There's not a lot of deer up there. Super hard to, deer hunt, this and that, whatever. And I'm like, how bad could it be?
Yeah.
And it was like, that was the first state, like for Dean and I, that we were like, this is 100% on our own.
Yep.
My dad and my uncle had brought us up in the hunting world to a certain point. We had, buddies that hunted, other family members that had hunted before that we would hunt with, whether it was in Ohio or New York. But this was like the first adventure that we'd be like, man, nobody that we know, like close to us, has ever done this before. So
Pretty cool.
Let's go figure it out.
Yeah.
And I mean, it took us 3 years to actually shoot a deer up there, but it was, I don't know. It's one of my favorite places to go. Honestly, it's one of my favorite trips of the year at this point.
Mm-hmm. It's super cool to get that early start. Also, coming from like the East, it's like a different planet out there.
It's
which
insane.
Is kind of neat. It's such a visual game. It's like you see them, but like trying to get them in bow range is a whole different deal.
Right.
And it's so funny because I think you hit the nail on the head with like the bow hunting thing. Is like not many people bow hunt out there. When I was out there talking, I got permission on a farm in South Dakota, and the rancher was like, yeah, no one bow hunts. I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. He's like, no, like no one bow hunts. Like that's not, no one does that. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, probably anybody would let you bow hunt around here. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
And it's pretty wild. Everybody's super friendly too out that way, I feel like.
The people out there are awesome. They're awesome. I remember like one of the first years we were going out there, we were hunting the afternoon. We come back to town. My brother and I, we still got a little bit of camo on, whatever. We go up to one of the bars to grab a burger or something. And we walk in camo, and people are like, what are you guys doing here? And we're like, we're hunting. They're like, hunting what? And they literally, like, everybody in the bar turned their heads and they're like, whitetail hunting? Like, we didn't even know there was a season for that right now.
It's not even
like
on the
all
radar.
these people are locals, and then, but now, like, we've had an opportunity to kill some pretty good deer up there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot more people hunting locally now, bow hunting, than there was before.
They catch
a
on.
lot. Oh yeah. Yeah. And they're like, number one, you can shoot a velvet buck. Number two, like, these guys have come in from freaking Ohio and they've tagged a buck like 3 or 4 years in a row. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, obviously with making videos and having stuff on YouTube, that's just part of the game. But like, we've literally had people that have we've had weird stories where like people are semi following us around and knowing the truck and knowing where we're at and hugging close to property lines or getting on the same piece of non-posted property or whatever. And it's just, it's kind of weird. We've had some weird run-ins and experiences with all that, but there's there didn't used to be a lot of people, and there's still not a lot of people that bow hunt, but there's definitely
more
people that bow hunt now. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah. You shot a real nice deer out there last fall, right?
Yeah, we last year was our best year that we started with. Dean shot a really nice, like 150-inch 9-point on opening day that we had been after for 3 years. And then I shot one 3 days later on the 4th day of the season that we had been after for a handful of years also. And both of our best North Dakota bucks in 12 years. And I mean, it was, to do that in 4 days was, I don't know, we got a big shoes to fill this year, that's for sure. We're trying to set the expectations a little bit lower and not like hype it up too much, because it would be a tough act to follow.
Yeah. I'm curious on that velvet stuff. So what do you see, when are they like out there? When do you see, and I think it's pretty similar a lot of places. I've hunted a lot of velvet all over the place. So I was obsessed with hunting velvet for like a decade. Yeah. And I couldn't kill one. Well,
I still am.
I killed like a small one, but like, me too a little bit. But then I had like some success, and I was like, okay, like I'm good now. I have to go crazy. But for a while, it was like, that was like the number one thing. Like literally, I'm like, I need to kill a big velvet deer. But what do you see for like, how long are they holding that velvet out there? Like what kind of like period do you think you have? Do you think it varies year to year? Is it pretty consistent?
No, it's not really that consistent. I mean, this year, so the season up there starts the Friday before Labor Day every year.
Yep.
So this year it starts August 29th. So it's like, it's the earliest that the season can ever start in the whole like process of things. So, I mean, this year we could probably hunt for a solid like 5-6 days, and you got a pretty good chance of shooting something in velvet.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, probably for the first 3 days, like that's your only chance of shooting something is in velvet. But it's weird because like we've had seasons where like it starts later, and then we see them holding like to the 10th, 11th, 12th. And then we've had other times where like it's like the first or second, and like all of a sudden you'll go there and something shut out, and it's like, what the heck, what makes that? What, I don't know what changes that. Like, it'll be interesting to see this year because they've gotten a ton of water up there this year. And I feel like the 1 year that it seemed like they were all shedding pretty early, it was kind of a drought year, so it was real dry. And I don't know if that has anything to do with it. I'm assuming it has at least a little bit to do with it. But this year it'll be interesting because like the crops are massive. Like just being up there, like the crops, everything is just like lush green. The corn is huge. The beans are super, super tall.
Yeah.
And there are areas where like it was almost too much water, where like it got washed out a little bit.
Yeah.
But then there's other areas where like around the sloughs, like the sloughs are like twice the size because of all the water, and the cattails are growing up like crazy. So there's more cover in certain areas than there wasn't before. So I'm interested to go up and, experience it. Every year is different, every year with the crop rotation, it's different. And then with this, especially this year being kind of abnormally more water in a lot of different areas, it'll be interesting to see how the deer move and what's the difference between this year and years past.
Are they almost like exclusively on green beans, or like is there alfalfa or any other food source or is it just like the game is green beans for the most part?
I mean, for the most part it's green beans, but their alfalfa is awesome this time of year too.
Yeah.
And especially like if you got a farmer that's haying it like a week or so after they hay it and it starts to pop again, they start hammering it like crazy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, really anything green this time of year, like there's a lot of clover, like different variations of clover that'll grow down next to the cattail sloughs and stuff. And we'll see a lot of the deer get up and they start, they'll spend a lot of time down by those cattail sloughs just feeding around. And you're like, what are they eating?
Yeah.
But once you get down into those areas, like it's like lush green clover that grows like right outside of them.
Yeah.
And I think they're munching on that. And then, the beans, right now especially are just lush green, and they're massive. So if they're flocking to anything, I mean, I think they're spending most of their nights, in and around bean fields and stuff.
Yeah. It seems like when the beans get that tall, it's almost tough to shoot them in them. You think beans, they're short, you can get a shot, but like Some of the times it's just like their head out of the top of those beans when it's a really good year.
The buck that I shot last year, he came up from behind us and he was like 18 yards in the beans right behind us. It like with the wind kind of blowing in his direction, and I was at full draw because I could tell like he was behind these, that we were like in the middle of this tree row, and there was trees in between him and us.
Yeah.
And he was like on the backside of those trees where I couldn't see him, but I could see his head and his demeanor completely change. And I'm like, damn, it's over. It's over. The wind was kind of whirling and gusting a little bit. And for whatever reason, he gave it up. And as soon as he took a step, I drew. And he got into one of our lanes at like 18 yards behind me. And I mean, I'm like pin locked on him, and he's taking step. And I'm like, Dean, I got nothing. Like, I got nothing. The beans were literally like, I could only see like the top 6 inches of his back. I'm like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And thank God he went down the bean row probably, I don't know, another 30, 40 yards, and he cut into the trees, and I caught him coming through the trees, and I'm like, he's going to come out into the beans on the other side, because we literally had beans on both sides of us. And he came into those right at the edge of those beans at like 26 yards. And I was already at full draw. I don't know if you've seen the video or not, but Dean, I'm like, Dean, you got him? And he's like, no. And right when he said no, I just let the arrow fly because I just like that buck the year before came in on me right at dark. And I thought I was going to get a closer shot. He was like 35 yards in the beans. I could have shot him. There was another buck literally right under me, and he came in with him, and I'm like, he's gonna follow this deer right here, and the light, it was getting lower light, so I'm like, man, I just wanted to wait for the closer shot, and that deer just did what older deer do, and he stayed out into the beans a little bit, and he never gave me a shot, and so when after the first time I was drawn, he was behind me, the beans were so tall I couldn't shoot. And then he gets to that other side. I'm already full draw. Yeah. Like, I don't even know why I asked Dean if he was on him or not, because my mind was already made up. Like, I got a missile locked, and he's freaking see you later.
We've had the same thing where it's like, you on him? No. It's like, are you on him? No. It's like, well, you better be, because I'm shooting either way. So get on him. Like,
figure it out.
You got like
figure it out quick. I look back at Dean, and he was like, what was that? And I'm like, dude, I just roasted that thing. Just roasted him. We got enough footage. We're good.
Yeah. Well, and I think, I used to be so concerned with like getting the actual impact on video. And obviously we still try to, but like if you tell a good enough story, it's not like
exactly.
It's you're all right, especially if you have footage of the deer.
If you've already got footage of the deer, if you've got second angles like in the tree, like we had going to, like because you can see me release the arrow, like you can understand what happened. Like the deer, literally a couple steps from when Dean couldn't see him anymore, you could see him. And he just stepped behind a tree that was in between him, Dean, and the deer, and so the whole experience was on film, and then, we got to be able to celebrate and bring everybody along with us. And it was like, I wouldn't trade it for anything. That's for sure.
I think our whole, we try to get it, don't get me wrong, but like our whole philosophy is like, we rather have a giant dead buck with a story than like, we didn't shoot him because we didn't have good footage, or it's like, it's like, that's better.
What are you really doing it for at that point?
Something that I think is really unique and cool that you guys do is like the super long form videos, like 2-3 hour long over the span of like several days, and not just like fast forwarding through the days where not as much happened. You still get like all the encounters and behind the scenes, like back at camp, stuff like that. It really just get the whole picture of it. I like watching it. It's cool.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I mean, we kind of decided a long time ago that we were never going to kill as many big bucks as like Lee and Tiffany, and we weren't going to outproduce Heartland bow hunters. So it was like, how can we differentiate ourselves a little bit? And I don't know, like we enjoy the hunt so much, even the hunts that are not successful. So why not show people those? Who knows what somebody else can get out of a hunt that maybe you wasn't like the most exciting or appealing hunt that you've ever had, but they learned a little something about your setup or about, an encounter that you had, or anything, or just the entertainment in itself. And like you said, like now you can see our whole week's worth of hunting. If you want to fast forward through it. But if you want to like sit down and have a week's worth of like an experience the way that we experienced it, or at least as close to it, well, we're going to give you that too. So
yeah, there's a different feeling to that, because like I think a lot of people don't realize the extent of how much footage like never sees the light of day, that there is potentially good stuff in there.
I like TV shows and stuff, you can't grasp, and sometimes there's maybe not as much work involved when you're going on like an outfitted hunt per se, and you're getting placed into a stand. But like even still, there's stuff that you have to do to prepare and stuff like that. But you don't get like a grasp of like what it takes to get to that moment. And what it takes to get there is a lot of the buildup of why that moment gets to be so intense and emotional and all that stuff. So being able to bring people along that journey, or people being able to like see that and allow them to see that type of stuff too, and let them into our world to understand, okay, why did you react this way when that you had success, or why did you react this way when you got a certain deer or whatever? Well, this is why, because and this is still a fraction of really what it took to get there. You know what I mean? There's a lot of time, thought, like effort, in your own head that you will never be able to see, to get to that point. But I don't know. I personally think that that's like an important part of it. And that's why a lot of us do it too. Like that work, that grind that goes into getting to that moment, because the moment doesn't really last very long, but it's the build up to get to that point that like is the reason why it is so intense and so emotional.
Yeah. I don't think also it's tough to show, and I know that because like I said, you're traveling and managing stuff, but like the logistics and planning to make that stuff, not just the boots on the ground when you get there, the logistics and planning to get what you need at a certain, get there on time, and the timing of everything, that's half of it at least, and it's tough to show that stuff, like talking to a farmer or talking to whoever to get this lined up for this. And it's like, that's part of that stuff that's like, no one really sees that. It's tough to show even on video.
No.
And you can talk about it, but.
Well, yeah. And it's all stuff that goes into the success of the hunt. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like all of that is a part of like that end all be all moment. And so, yeah, you're right. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. Like I said, what we show is longer form content, but it's still a fraction of like the time and effort that actually goes into making any of these moments possible.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got into filming. And kind of how that journey went for you, or has been for you.
Honestly, we were always just like very infatuated with outdoor TV, like since we were like super, super young. And we would always like compare our hunts in New York to these guys going to like the Milk River in Montana and Kansas and Iowa. And we're like, that doesn't even equate to, we'll never experience something like that. That was kind of always what we thought. It was always like something that was unreachable for us. But at the same time, like the way that we enjoyed the hunt, we were like, man, it captivates us. Maybe it'll captivate other people. So I think it was pretty young age, 12, 13, 14 years old. Maybe like I had this little Sony camcorder, and Dean and I would just mess around making videos, like shooting our bow. We would kind of mess around and start filming some hunts, but it wasn't like very serious at all. And that just kind of built the momentum a little bit. And then we bought like a pretty decent camera, and we got a little bit more serious with it. And what really kicked things off for us, we saw an ad on Facebook for this thing called the Campbell, Illinois Whitetail Challenge.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
it was through Campbell cameras back in the day. This had to be, 13, 14 years ago, at least, maybe
back.
15 years ago. Yeah. And so I'm like, dude, let's just apply. Let's just see what, let's just apply.
Yeah.
And so we did. We had to buy another camera because like the minimum requirements, we didn't have that.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to put this all on TV too, or at least clips of it on TV.
Yeah.
So like there was minimum requirements of a camera that you had to have and like the capabilities of it and stuff like that. So we literally bought a camera, in preparation that we were going to get picked to go on this show or this event, whatever. And we did. So we were one of 10 teams, and we get there, and like these guys are running rigs that are just like massive, just huge, big screens, massive mics that are coming off. And Dean and I got this little like just a step above a camcorder, like a little like
Was it like a GL2 or something like that?
Yeah. It was like a Canon like Vixia something. It was like the lowest grade that you could get. And we get there, and like some of these guys got second angles that are like literally our exact camera for like for our main camera. But when we got there, like every day they had a production element. So it was like they did like a little challenge out like from a production side of things outside of the actual hunt. So everything was like kind of scored. You got points based on like your deer footage and your hunt interviews and stuff like that. But then every day there was a production element. So like, for instance, one day was like time lapses, and you had to turn in 3 different time lapses, and they judged them, and they would pick the top 3 teams, and those teams would get like extra points. Another day was like area reference shots. So you had to like film things that were like, that showed where you were at in Illinois. I think. Yeah, it was Illinois. Other one was lighting. And so there was 5 different production elements for 5 different days. And Dean and I came in the top 3 out of the 5 days. So we were like, holy this is crazy. Like, we're good. We're good at this, I think. And so a couple of guys that were there kind of took us under their wing while we were there. They could see, like, they're like, man, these guys, like, we got to edge them along a little bit because clearly they're not playing with the same equipment as everybody else. And I don't know, that just kind of threw us into the fire, and it sparked even more, like coming in the top 3 in 3 out of those 5 days. We were like, dude, we kind of looked at each other as we're going home, and we're like, we could compete, I say, but like we could match some of these people, and like maybe we got something here, and we didn't even shoot anything. I think only 2 or maybe 3 of the 10 teams actually shot bucks on that trip. But that really like just pushed us forward and motivated us to like dive in. And after that, I taught myself how to edit. Dean taught himself how to edit. He's a little bit less on the editing side of things, but taught myself how to edit. We started our YouTube channel and just kind of hit the ground running, and everything has evolved from there.
Have you always just produced content, your content for the YouTube channel? No,
so I produced Whitetail Edge for 4 years.
Okay.
And then I produced another show on the Sportsman's channel also called The Crossroads with the Burtons for a couple years as well. And then I filmed for a couple different TV shows on the Sportsman's channel as well, just kind of freelance stuff, nothing like full season, but honestly, just to like network and understand how things went in the TV world and go in the TV world. And, it's kind of like the more people you know in this business, the better you are. People kind of hop around different companies all the time, and maybe somebody lands where you want to be or where you think you belong or something like that you already know. And it's just, I don't know. It's a lot of the business side of things to me is just all about building relationships and trying to move forward that way. And, obviously producing good content. And I think a lot of content is good also, but ultimately, like if you want to turn this into some sort of a career or like something that you can earn some money from. Like you've got to build relationships with the people at these companies that can make a decision.
Absolutely. Is this your full-time, is media your full-time, hunting media your full-time thing, or do you have, so it is?
For me it is. Yeah. So Dean owns and operates another family business that we have up in Western New York with my dad.
Okay.
So like, I mean, he earns a little bit from tag and brag and stuff, but this is what I do full time now.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I've been impressed with like just the volume of content you guys put out. It's pretty consistent. There's a lot of it. Like there's not a lot of channels that are putting out that much content consistently. So you guys are doing a good job with that for sure. And then I saw Matt was saying, I saw the long form stuff, and I was like, holy crap, they're going real long. Like, I was like, all right. But it seems like all that stuff, like the views are really good. I was like, holy smokes. Like, it's like a 2-hour video with like, you know, a lot of views.
Yeah. Like some of our longer form, like 2-hour long videos are the stuff that has like 1 million views on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to argue with it. Like, give the people more. If they want to watch it, then keep it going, you know? So a lot of our stuff is just video, like daily vlogs. And then, you know, on trips like North Dakota, or, you know, we do a rut week for a week up in New York where, you know, kind of the group that got us started all meets at our camp in New York. Like those, there's just, I don't know, a handful of like trips and weeks throughout the year. Like, I'll take the vlogs from every day of that trip and I'll just throw it all in one video and let it be 2-3 hours long. And people that want to watch it, by all means.
Seems like they're watching them. I think YouTube is favoring some of that longer stuff too. It seems like some of those like 45-minute, hour plus videos.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like as a platform that's probably competing with Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and although like the short form content is good, if you want people to stay on your platform, what's going to keep them on there the longest? It's going to be like if they can indulge into something that like captivates them and keeps them on there for as long as possible. So
for sure.
Do you guys have a podcast also?
We do.
What's that called?
Yeah, we've got a podcast called Goose Chasing, and
I've seen
so many people think it's about chasing geese. Like so many people, you have no idea. Like I can't even remember. I had a meeting with somebody a couple weeks ago, and they're like, "You got a podcast about goose hunting, huh?" And I'm like, "Never goose hunted in my life, actually." But goose chasing is just a term that we grew up in the hunting world. Like back in the day when my dad and my uncle were flinging aluminum arrows at these deer, more oftentimes than not, it continued in a goose chase. Yeah. So it's just like kind of like the goose chase of life. And Dean and I just get on there and tell old stories. And we're starting to have more guests on there now because we're kind of, I don't know, our story archives are running a little bit dry. But you know, it's just, I don't know, it was something that we grew up with, and we're like in the truck one time driving probably to North Dakota or somewhere else. We're like, oh, we should start a podcast and BS about this, that, and the other, tell stories, whatever. What are we going to call it? Goose chasing.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I get it.
Well,
I never thought it was about
chasing geese now,
waterfowl.
Well, thank you, because most people do.
So, let's talk about New York, because it's pretty interesting. You know, you guys have killed some pretty darn big deer, which I think a lot of people in New York and in the Northeast would be surprised at. I know I was like, oh man, they're killing some good ones. I mean, you've like Boone and Crockett deer, like type deer, some of them. Which is pretty wild.
We got a couple Booners under our belt, which is kind of crazy to say on our land up in New York for sure.
That's pretty unique, I guess I'd say. So how long you said your grandfather started there? How long ago was that? Was that when you were young? Like
probably 40 years before I was born. Yeah.
All right.
40 plus years ago.
Your whole life has been watching that area and that property evolve.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
It's insane.
So awesome. Tell me a little bit about what you've seen through the years and how things have changed. Obviously, I mean, you guys put a ton of work into it. And that's for sure a big part of it. But like, have you seen the culture change there? Have you seen the deer herd change in general outside of your influence? Like, how has that looked?
I mean, the culture up there has definitely changed from, like, when we were growing up, it was man drives and it was hunt camps. Like, on opening day of it was shotgun season back when we were growing up. Like, the roads would be lined up with trucks. Like, Like, you would just drive down the back roads and it would be like 4 trucks here, 6 over here, 5 down here, and you'd see guys in orange everywhere and just hunting deer like rabbits. Like, literally everybody was pushing them and deer were running wild. Opening day, you would sit and you would hear gunshots from daylight to dark all day long. It's not like that anymore. You drive down the roads now and you see box blind after box blind and food plot, and it's all evolved into, like, everybody's got their own piece of property that they call theirs, and that's how they hunt, whether it's 20 acres, 40 acres, 200 acres, or 500. It doesn't matter. But I don't know if that's good or bad, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's good or I think it's good for the deer herd, because we've definitely seen, like, I mean, some of the bucks that we've killed in the last 5 to 7 years, we would never even have dreamed of seeing something like that up in New York. When we were growing up, a 2.5-year-old 8-point was the granddaddy of all bucks. That's just how it was. I mean, like, anything outside of a forker and anything with a rack was getting shellacked, like, right off the rip. Like, you saw any horns and it was like the group is going after that thing. It's insane how there's actually a deer population up in Western New York at this point with how we hunted back in the day. But it was like, I don't know, to an extent, it was so much more celebrated. You know, like, guys are driving around with their tailgates down, just proud of whatever was in the back. It could have been a doe in the back of there. They're just proud of whatever's in the back of there. You're driving down the road and you see a group of guys standing around the bed of a truck. You stop and you have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
You know, now it's like you shoot something and it's like, get it back to camp and get it in the garage, like, as soon as possible. We don't want anybody to see where this deer was taken, or, you know, like, I'm like, this deer's on 45 trail cameras all throughout the county. Like, everybody knows that he's dead now. What are you going to do about it? Like, what are you going to do about it? So, I don't know. Like, it's such a weird thing. And it's always been a dream of ours.
Right.
Like I said, like, Dean and I would be infatuated by outdoor TV and the caliber of deer that they were shooting, you know, when we were young. You know, I'm talking like 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
But now, you know, and so it was like, at the time, it was like, New York is the only place that we're ever going to hunt ever. So we've got to make this that. And I don't think we could ever make this that, because, like, in Field and Stream and some of the old magazines that had polls of, like, the worst places to hunt in America, New York was always in the top 5. Yeah. And a lot of times it was number 1. Yeah. So it's really cool to be able to like shoot the caliber of deer that we've been shooting up there now, and neighbors are shooting those caliber of deer, and, like, you know, so, and we're able to have conversations with people and kind of change the culture that way, to, like, managing the deer herd more, as opposed to just literally shooting anything and everything that walked. Yeah. Which is very, very cool for us, like, to get new people involved in it. Yeah. I don't know how. I always think about this, like, me as a 7-year-old boy, when I was getting into it, in today's day and age, would I be as fired up as I am right now if I came up like hunting is right now? I don't think I would. Like, because it was action packed when we were younger. Like, and if it wasn't, my dad, we weren't really going. So I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so hard. And, like, you got these guys that are, like, you know, telling a 8-year-old, 10-year-old boy or kid that they can't shoot this because let go one more year. It's just like, what?
Well, and
what?
then you have
like that's crazy.
You have kids that like you tell them to shoot it, like, no, I'm gonna wait for a bigger one. It's like you never shot anything before. What do you do? Like, what is going? Like,
right? What are you doing?
It's crazy.
I've got some, some people that I've known around us in Ohio and even in New York that are way younger. Like they're late high school, early college right now. And even they'll send me trail camera pictures of these deer. And they're like, this deer needs like another year or two. And I'm like, dude, notch your belt, bro. Notch your belt. Like if you see that thing and you let that thing walk by, I'm going to be pissed at you. Just don't worry about social media and everybody that's going to judge you or whatever. Like get it under your belt. Cause I think what people don't realize is getting to the point of taking that shot or making that shot is half the battle. There's such a massive portion of the hunt that comes after you connect with an animal that needs to be understood and experienced. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough to experience a lot of that when I was younger and in a lot of different forms and fashions. Some good chasing. And some not so good.
A lot of goose chasing.
Goose chasing, exactly. So like, I don't know, like there's a large part of me that's like, man, you need to be able to experience that portion of it and literally taking it from field to plate and understand that the back half of all of this to really appreciate it a little bit more. And it's not just pulling the trigger so that you can throw something up on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever to get the glitz and the glamour of that. It's like, it's a life that's valuable, and taking care of that life or the life that you took thereafter is extremely important. It's a huge aspect of it.
The other, to back up a little bit in the process too, like if you're passing all these deer, you really haven't shot any, and your intent isn't, I don't know about you, but when I can watch a deer that I don't intend to shoot and I'm like, cool. But like when I'm like, I'm going to shoot that one. Like it's a different thing. Like that experience and that encounter, it becomes a different thing. And if you haven't experienced that enough and like you've been waiting for all these years and you haven't shot one and some big 160-inch 7-year-old comes in at 15 yards, like good luck. Good luck pulling that
out. It's a different ball game. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a doe, like pull your bow back and put your pin on that live animal and tell me how you feel right now. Yeah. It ain't shooting foam, that's for sure. No. It's just not. And people get target panic doing that. So it's like amplify that times 100, you know? Yeah. Like, and so I agree. Like you've got to, that's why I'm like, shoot a small buck. Just shoot some, shoot a doe, whatever. Like you've got to get repetition in that so that when your time does come and you have that buck of a lifetime in front of you, you could take advantage of it. Because it's not going to be like, oh, this is my, first buck I've ever shot and it's the 160-inch deer and, I did everything perfect and all that. Like, you're going to mess that up. Yeah. You're going to mess that up if you don't have the experience. Sometimes you're going to mess it up when you do have the experience.
How was the experience for you with that 170 when it was coming in? Were you a complete wreck or were you able to hold it together just long enough?
I was able to hold it together just long enough. Honestly, I shot that deer with a bow during rifle season. Yeah. And my brother was back in Ohio at this point. We had actually just hosted the landowner's son, Kane, from North Dakota in New York that previous 4 or 5 days. It was right after Thanksgiving. So my brother Dean took him back to the airport in Cleveland. And I'm like, I'm going to stay up and hunt one more day. Like we hadn't seen that deer in a couple weeks. And after the fact, we pulled a couple non-cell cameras that we have in this swamp bottom. And he was in there on a doe, literally that day and the 2 days prior. So he was there. We just didn't know it. But I went up to this this one bean field that we have, and I knew, the snow was rolling in. It was a blizzard. Like, I got in, it was a blizzard. I'm sitting there, it was a blizzard. In the last 45 minutes, the skies parted, and it just like deer just like poured out onto the field. And I honestly was in such a mode of like, I'm filming all these deer. There's deer coming left, right, and sideways into the field. Like, the field filled up like that. It was so quick. And he pops out at the bottom of the field, and I'm like, I don't know. There like almost wasn't enough time, even though it took them multiple minutes to get from the bottom of the field up to the top where I was sitting. There was almost like, when I think back on it, there was like not enough time to process all of what was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I had like 12 deer feeding within 40 yards of me, like anywhere from 12 to 40 yards of me, right in the middle of the field, right in front of the blind. So when he came out at the bottom, he like munched on a few beans, and then he would like walk 10 yards and munch on a few more, and then another 20 yards. And so he was kind of making his way up there fairly quickly. And all of a sudden, like, he's just in the middle of all the deer at 38 yards. And I was like, head down in the beans. And I'm like, ranged them. I'm like, I could do that. I think I'm going to try. And so it all happened. Like, it just like, it flowed, in the moment it flowed, but it was because I've also had a lot of experience shooting other deer. So like, that moment didn't really get the best of me. It was after I released the arrow that just all hell broke loose, and I came unglued because I knew what happened. Like, I knew what deer that was, and I still didn't know like how big he actually was. I mean, when you watch these deer from like when they start growing in June, July, all the way to when they shed their velvet, even the bigger ones, like, you kind of get numb to watching them so long, and you're like trying to guess like, how big is this deer actually, whatever. Dean and I had him, we're like, he's probably like close to 160 or whatever, which is obviously it was a bigger deer than I had ever shot with my bow regardless. But I'm like, I don't know. I didn't think he was a booner. That wasn't in my head. Yeah. And maybe that's part of the reason that helped me out in the situation, because I didn't have like that like stigmatism in my head. But after the fact is when like I completely just came unglued. And then once we actually found him and I got my hands on him, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this is insane. Like, for whatever reason, in the photos and even in the video, like, you just can't appreciate the mass that he has. Yeah. Like, when you look down on his rack, it is just like the ends of baseball bats, like, all the way through it, because it's like, it's kind of like veiny and just weird contour in his rack. So he kind of hides his mass well, but it's, I don't know, an incredible specimen. And for us to be able to do that on the land that we grew up on up in New York, and to do it with a bow during rifle season, it's just like, I don't know, what more do you like, draw it up perfectly. Yeah. Like, what more do you want? Why do I deserve that? Like, I do. I look at him now when I go into camp, I'm like, that was insane. Like, that was insane. That situation you only dream about, and it actually happened. So it's just like, sometimes you just got to pinch yourself in those moments and be like, I guess I'll take it, but do I really deserve that? I don't know.
Well, it'd be cool for your, 7 or 8 year old self to look forward and,
oh my gosh,
imagine that. You'd be like, no way, that's not real. That's never gonna, like, come on, that's
100%, 100%. Wouldn't have believed it for 1 second at all. And then just the fact of like, getting to do stuff like this with you guys, being able to travel across the country now and hunt, and just how much I've like built my life around this now. It's, my 7 or 8 year old self would be like, what? What?
This is going to be awesome.
yeah, exactly. This is going to be awesome. Oh my goodness. That's funny.
So what is some of the things as far as like managing that property that you guys have kind of evolved on over the years? Like, what are some of the things that actually, let's back up a little bit. You were talking a little bit about kind of the shift in culture. Do you guys have good relationships with the neighbors? And you can divulge as much information as you want on this, but feel free to say, But I'm curious as to like how that works, because I feel like sometimes people are all about when you're doing, they're like, oh, it's really cool, and they want to be part of it. But I feel like some people don't really like that, what you're doing, like at all. Like
Exactly. You're exactly right.
you experiencing similar stuff?
Yeah, we experience both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
We've got neighbors that, and it's funny because the ones that don't love us are doing the same thing and want the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
They want the exact same thing. It's the craziest thing ever. And they combat the crap out of it. They will go to leaps and bounds for us not to do what we're doing. And honestly, to some degree, I feel like it's excelled us in what we're doing.
Yeah, push
literally.
Yeah.
But like we've got neighbors, and the cool part is we've got neighbors that like have fully, adopted it, and they'll say the same thing. Okay, if I got a niece or a nephew that's coming for a first hunt, like they're shooting whatever they want, and I'm like, they better, they better, but they themselves, it might not be to our standards, but I don't expect everybody to have the same standards that I do. That's not realistic. But if you have some sort of standards and understand that, okay, and a lot of it, like the neighbors that we get along with really well, it's like we'll share trail cameras back and forth. We'll share information. Hey, just so you know, like we're gonna give this deer a pass. Not saying you have to, but like that's our plan. Some of them will be like, all right, I'll roll with it, and some of them will be like, you're out of your freaking mind.
Yeah.
And I don't, and honestly, fair. I'm not going to judge either way, but I'd rather communicate that up front.
Right.
So that, because there's so many hunters that have the mentality that are like, well,
if I'm
going to shoot this deer because if he goes on to the neighbors, my neighbor's definitely going to shoot him. It's like, well, that doesn't make any sense, because shoot what you actually want to shoot and you're going to be happy with, because you got to, number one, I always say you bet on the deer, because they're out there all the time. They know you better than you think they do. And two, like if you do that, you're still filling a tag. And even if you let it go and your neighbor fills that tag, all right, well, your neighbor's tag's filled now.
Yeah.
So it's still one, like in the grand scheme of things, it's still one less that you're taking away from the herd that may be something that you actually do want to shoot the next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got literally both ends of the spectrum, and it's a bummer that people take it to like a greedy level, to where they're doing things on the defense almost, and it like they don't enjoy the hunt anymore.
To take something away from.
Yeah, they're literally trying to take something away, or they're trying to combat the situation so that you don't get something that they think that you want. They don't even know, but they think that you want. And ultimately we all want the same damn things. We all want to shoot good bucks. We all want there to be a healthy deer herd, and we're all planting food plots and trying to manage the deer. If we were all just in it together, it could be happy. This could be like just a happy thing, So
I also feel like that part of the country out there is kind of like on the fringe of where the management and is like, it's kind of creeping east, and it's been creeping east, and that's kind of like the front edge of it, where you do have a fair amount of it, but then you have people that are not on board at all, and then it's like kind of a weird situation where you don't really know what people are going to think, about it. Yeah,
and it's like, to some degree, I think, up in New York, even though this is literally where we grew up hunting, we're still looked at as like the non-resident a-holes, the guys that come in. Oh yeah. The guys that come in from Ohio and take our deer. I'm like, I mean,
yeah, I'm sure none of them go on Ohio either.
Right. I literally hunted here my entire life. we were pouring our heart and souls into this land. The deer aren't ours or yours.
Yeah.
So like, just chill, man. Chill. It's just, I don't know. People will find any rhyme or reason to knock you down or try and derail you or whatever. And it's unfortunate, but it's like we've kind of found that like the higher that you're willing to climb, the more of that you're going to get. And so it used to bother me a lot, honestly. It really did, because I didn't understand it from the standpoint of that wasn't how I grew up, number one. And number two, like, I love to hunt. So why do these people hate it and hate me for doing it?
Yeah.
So it really, like, it rattled me, for a little bit. And now I'm like, you ain't going to change them, and you're not going to change my opinion or what I'm trying to do either. So it just,
ultimately,
whatever.
It really doesn't have anything to do with you.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's them.
You're exactly right.
It's nothing to do with you. And I think I was the same way until I realized, I'm like, some of our content's like, I just can't do anything that everybody has just got something. I'm like, you know what? I feel pretty good about what I do, and it makes me happy, and I have a lot of fun, and I feel like I'm not doing things the right way. So like, whatever, dude. Like, say what you want.
Well, and then you realize, like, anybody that's actually doing it for similar reasons or doing it with a similar passion is not going to say anything like that to you.
No.
So it's the people that are just literally jealous, sitting on their couch, greedy, whatever. It's the ones that have their own inner issues, honestly.
Yeah.
That are the ones that, have to fire that up and fire everybody else up, or so they think. And it's just, it's not, it's unfortunate that it comes into the hunting world because of how much of a tradition it is.
Yeah.
And how much of like a pastime, and I don't know how valuable it is, honestly, to life in general. You know what I mean? Like, how valuable. I hate calling it a sport, because it's really not like a sport. It's more of, I don't know, it's a privilege, to be honest. So it's like the fact that the people like put it to that level to where it's competitive it's so obnoxious to me, and it's so unnecessary too.
Yeah. I just whatever. They can, like I said.
Yeah, they can choose to live life that way.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is, though. That's what it is. It's you're choosing to be, and I'm like, I don't know. I got better shit to do than to.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna go have fun doing something. Yeah. Might not even be hunting, but I'm gonna have fun doing something.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but well. So what is some of like the management stuff or the development of that property that you guys have kind of evolved on, that maybe like you had a notion maybe 5-10 years ago, and something that didn't work, or you said that doesn't, you thought would work, or implemented, and you've kind of shifted? Is there any you have any light bulb moments or aha moments where you're like, oh, we need to do this? Or has it just been kind of slow, like picking up on things slowly and surely and evolving?
Well, a lot of our food plots, or a lot of our tillable ground, is like borders the road or is not secluded. So a lot of what we've had to adopt is planting stuff or creating barriers to get, not only to block like road pressure and stuff like that, but to get in and out, like access is huge. Yep. And because we still, I say only 200 acres, but we still only have 200 acres. Yep. And my dad's up there all the time, Dean and myself, my uncle, like we've got, a handful of people that hunt up there on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. And so going in and out of these spots, like, you have to be able to get it in and out undetected. Otherwise, it makes all the work that you're doing on the food plots irrelevant. Yep. Because you may have some smaller deer that will feed in there consistently that just don't really know any better. But, as any land manager, like you've got goals and standards for yourself. And so being able to maximize that, like getting in and out, is a huge, huge thing. Yeah. We've, and my dad doesn't necessarily adopt this as much as we do, but like earlier in the season and later in the season, we don't typically hunt mornings as much anymore. For that reason, because it's like, I'd rather have one amazing afternoon hunt rather than like a Saturday, Sunday, or a Saturday morning, Sunday night, Saturday morning, Saturday night, Sunday morning hunt that's mediocre.
Yep.
I'd rather take that one Saturday afternoon that's going to be awesome based on not going in there and bumping deer and, alerting stuff. So we've adopted a lot of different strategies, and a lot of it has to do with preserving as opposed to like hunting harder or, investing more time or whatever. It's almost like backing off a little bit, the work in the summertime that you do on the food plots and all that stuff. Like when it comes time to hunt, it's almost like you're kind of backing off of that a little bit as opposed to like going gung ho right away. And then it changes a little bit once like end of October and November rolls around, because you're pushing into the hardwoods a little bit more. You're sitting on stand a lot longer. You're getting more aggressive. And it's like at that point in the season, anything could happen. Yeah. And so that's what you're kind of banking on. But when you're trying to work off their patterns, like you've got to be sneaky and strategic. Oh yeah. And I think that's probably the most that we've adopted is like, it's gone from like we like go in there, shoot anything, brown it's down. We're going to go push deer around and, roost and route the whole county up and like upside down to like, no, we're going to preserve this 200 acres and we're going to go in at what we feel is the right moment, or at least per spot, you go in with the right wind and at the right time and you take your chances.
Most of your group or your family's on board with that too?
Well, we've lost a lot of people. I mean, we used to hunt with 15, 20 guys, and so now it's like 5 to 7 maybe. Yeah. Like, and that's not all season. There's 3 or 4 of us for both season, realistically, maybe 5 with one of my cousins that comes up there. But in gun season, you may get another guy or 2 that comes up for like a weekend, and most of the time anymore, it's to come up, sit in the blind with one of us and have dinner, for a Saturday night at camp. Mm-hmm. It's really not about like killing anything, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's the thing that particularly like our generation has like, it's once again, we're on that front edge, that fringe of that changing of culture. You have like the old guard and the new guard, and it's like this kind of like thing like where this where like how many times have you heard like, yeah, my freaking dad or my grandpa like trying to do this, but he just won't freaking listen. He walks right into the bedding area at like 8 in the morning and stuff. It's like, it's funny because like there's so many, I've heard that story so many times. And sometimes they got on board though, and sometimes it's just like, hey, it's gonna be what it's gonna be, and that's how he's gonna do it, and we'll just work around it.
You can't the leopard doesn't change its spots all the time, so sometimes you got to go with it. And we do that like with my dad, with my uncle. It's like there's certain things that it's just not gonna you're not gonna change them. Yep. But for the most part, we've gotten that, like, because they see it too. They grew up. They grew up on this property as much as we did, and they had another decade or whatever under their belt on this property. So the fact of where it started from and where it is now, it's like, okay, on the back half of all this, like, you guys could have some pretty quality years of hunting, quality deer, and also enjoying it. We could sit in the blind together. It's a little bit more lax in some regards, because you're not just like going around and stomping through the woods and like one brush pile to the next. It's like, okay, you can get in the blind, you can have a conversation, you can talk about life, whatever. You can enjoy the scenery that's in front of you. And so, there's a give and take a little bit, but yeah, we've honestly, like, probably one of the harder parts is we've lost a lot of people along the way, but once again, it's like, all right, do you fill the camp with 12 people with 2 tags apiece, on 200 acres and try and manage deer? It ain't going to happen. Mm-hmm. No, it's not sustainable. I mean, it's like, I would say, fortunately or unfortunately, like, one of the management strategies in the grand scheme of things is like, okay, how can we acquire 10 more acres over here or 30 more acres over here, so that not only we can have it adjacent to our property, but like the two guys that were hunting it before aren't there anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like that. I hate even saying that as a hunter that wants to promote hunting and grow the sport, but that is the reality.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's
the reality of
it is
of land managing. It is.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's just we're in a weird spot right now. It's kind of hard to understand in the whitetail world, like what is next and where does it go from here?
Yeah, so where I'm at, where we're sitting is like, it really hasn't hit here like it has in, like, I'll say Western Central New York, PA, you know, we're kind of where it hasn't hit. So I'm like, and I've seen all of it. And it's just like a weird thing where like everybody has a different perspective on it. And a lot of people around here are just like, they don't like that at all. Like at all. They like, you know, in Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, Massachusetts, you know, if land isn't posted, you can legally hunt it. And it's not like it's taboo. Like, it's accepted. You can just go, right? Like, you can just go. And like a lot of people, and I appreciate it too, and benefit to it from an extent. But a lot of people, they don't want any land shut down and, you know, we'll call it, have somebody with exclusive access to it. Like, they don't want to see that. They even get upset sometimes if private landowners don't want, like, only let like a few people hunt on it, which is kind of crazy, honestly. I mean, I understand because our culture is a lot different, but from coming from the other parts of the country, and it's wild. So like, it's really interesting to see how this stuff is working in and things are changing.
It is.
I sometimes don't even know how. It's like, I don't even know how I feel about this. Like, I don't know.
Oh,
Like,
I'm with you.
yeah.
Yeah, because in one breath, like, the reason that we started doing this is because of the impact that it had on us, and part of that impact was the camaraderie, and for me, like, feeling like I was far beyond my years, far before I was old enough to do much of really anything, and feeling like I was part of like the guys in a community that was far bigger than I was. But then there's another part of it that's like, you know, you're doing all this work and you want to provide for yourself and, you know, quality hunts and deer and the best opportunities and stuff like that for yourself. So it's just like, but at the same time, like, I want other people to experience hunting the way that it's impacted my life and the value that it's brought to my life and my family. I want other people and as many people to experience that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. My head spins thinking about it, because it's so different, and it's weird because it's kind of only in the whitetail world. Because like, if you go out west, it's not like you're running trail cameras and you're naming elk and you're, you know, naming mule deer and stuff like that's not really happening. And I don't even know if that's really feasible. It's same in like the waterfowl. Like, I know people that'll fight over a duck blind and stuff like that, but it's not like you're managing ducks or I don't know. It's just not like that in that world. You're not naming mallards, and, you know, you got trail camera pictures of them and stuff like that. So it's like, as the trail cameras have kind of developed, I feel like it's gotten so possessive, because it feels like when you see that animal, now it's yours, you know, or it's yours to go after. Yeah. And it's like, like I said, there's 14 other people that have trail camera pictures of this same damn deer. Yeah. And are thinking the same damn thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was fun. I used to get like,
I think we're all guilty
felt
of that.
some sort of way back in the day when like the big buck I was after, someone else shot it. Like, I used to, I don't know what I felt, but it wasn't like a good feeling that I had. Like, it wasn't like a positive like thing for the community. It was like, you should probably like bury that in the closet and just like stay in your bedroom for a few days till that's passed.
Yeah.
It was like ugly like feeling. Now I don't feel like that at all. I really don't. I'm like, heck yeah, dude, congrats. Like, you know, awesome.
Right.
But I think it took me a while to get there. But to go back to your point,
Well, and that's
it's like,
probably a good.
the goal for like you or a lot of people is like, hey, let's have a big piece of land that we can manage, and maybe you guys have a couple hundred, but maybe you want a couple hundred more, and like that's the dream, right? And you're working for it and you work towards it. But the reality is, and I'm the same way, for you to get there, that means you're potentially displacing other people so that you can obtain that, right? And it's like kind of a weird thing. And in the ideal world, you'd be buying, leasing, occupying, whatever property that just doesn't get hunted, right? Like, but you can't. I mean, that's not really feasible to be. I'm only gonna pick the ones that guys don't.
Right.
It's a tough situation, and I can see why some people get pretty upset about it and are passionate about it on both ends. So,
yeah. Well, it's just it's gotten so commercialized that it just takes away from the value of the hunt a little bit, and it's like, it's refreshing to talk to you guys that kind of have the same views and just kind of feel weird about it. But also, like you said, like the guy next door shoots a big buck, like you're going to congratulate him now. I mean, what else are you going to do? Like, what's the alternative? Be pissed about it.
Yeah.
And then you're pissed about it for the rest of your hunting season that you've waited all year for. Like, that doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't. So, and it's like, what are you going to do? There's nothing you can do about it. And I think part of it for me is like, I've been fortunate to kill like my fair share of like big bucks. And it's like, all right, he got one. Awesome. Like, like I don't need to kill every one of them. I'll try to, but I don't need to kill every one of them. Like,
no, that's exactly right.
So,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, I don't know. So let me ask you a little bit about your food plots. You guys have the Food Plot Chronicles, which I think is super cool. Like I always follow that because I'm not terribly far from you guys with my place, and I'm planting stuff as well. So let's run through, like, I know you guys plant a lot of stuff, and you have, how many acres actually of food plots do you have on that place? Do you know?
We probably plant like between 20 to 25 acres, I would say now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
I mean, it is kind of a lot to think about now that you say that. When it used to be like, oh, we got like 3 acres, and then it's like, all right, we got like 6.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we've just taken different areas of our property that have like any little sort of opening, and made it a little bigger, and over time have kind of created tillable ground and made it work.
Is part of that to support the deer density, or is it to create more hunting locations? Like, or just because you guys like it, or has it been kind of a combination of that?
It's kind of a combination of all of it. Yeah. I mean, Dean is obsessed with planting food plots.
Is he?
Like, he's out of his freaking mind. Like, even this year, I just get on the tractor and do what I'm told, basically. But this kid is like, I mean, I'm like, dude, first of all, we don't need all this. We don't need all this food. But he's like, oh, we're going to carve out like a little bit over here. We're going to make this beans and corn. And like the one plot I think you were talking about with like the corn all around it, it borders the road. There's beans in the middle. Like, last year, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to plow up this field. I mean, it's like 3 acres. It's probably close to 3 acres, 3 to 4 acres of, he's like, yeah, I'm just going to plow this and we're going to plant corn and beans in here. I'm like, what? I'm like, why? It's the whole field is, there's not more of it that's like 150 yards off the road. Yeah. Literally. It's right on the road, 2 different roads. I'm like, this makes no logical sense to put a food plot here. But he literally created like a half or like a moon shape strip of corn, big strip of corn along the whole outside. And then he put the blind right at the top of there's just a little hill at the top, and the field kind of slopes down along the back side, planted beans all in the middle. So as soon as the corn gets like 6 feet tall, there's not a spot on the road you could see anything into this field. Yeah. And you could literally walk right to the blind, and the corn gets to like the base, literally like the bottom of the blind. There could be 15 deer in the field, and you get right in this blind. I'm like, you're nuts. So it's kind of a combination of everything. Like, number one, he loves doing it. I mean, we do love doing the work and just kind of experimenting and like changing a plot up from corn and beans one year to like maybe it's corn and brassicas the next year. Or you plant a little strip of clover around the outside just to see like what the deer do, you know? I mean, ultimately it's to plentify the deer herd for sure.
Yeah.
And to create more spots throughout the season that we can go to that, you know, once again, it's, you've got one more food plot to go to. Well, that's one more option that's alleviating some of the other spots of the pressure, you know, of going in there and kind of, it's a shared system at that point.
Yeah.
So
the one thing with that, and I think it's great, but the one thing I worry about with that is just dispersing or diluting the deer. And maybe that's a good, it's sometimes people, some people think that's a good thing. I'll say that. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just something I think about where you have them going in all different directions. And I think sometimes like you don't want 30 deer in front of you within 40 yards, right? Like that's sometimes just not a good thing.
for sure.
But I feel like sometimes I want like just a clear pattern where like, you know what I mean? So it's like higher odds in one spot, but once again, that doesn't hunt very big and it's not very accommodating to like, you know, 300 or 400, right? Yeah.
Well, and especially if it's like, like you said, if it's just you and you're kind of strategizing around that. Yeah. Having too many options can clog the brain. Oh yeah. And then you kind of get like paralysis of like, where do I go? Yeah. What am I going to do? Like the wind's decent for over here, but he was on trail camera over here. But you know, like where it screws up your mind a little bit. So I do agree. You know, I definitely agree. What we've found too with some of our plots is like we kind of they're kind of close in proximity to one another. So the deer almost use them as like a little system, so to speak, in their afternoon. So it's like, okay, now you're just playing the like, where's he going to be first? Or, you know, because he may hit both plots in daylight in the same night. Right. You know, it's just about, okay, maybe one of them's got a little bit of a better west wind opportunity. Yeah. The other one's a little bit better of a north wind opportunity. But ultimately, like, you know, there's clover on the interior, there's beans and corn on the exterior. And earlier in the season, you're going to go into that clover plot, you know, to try and kill him because he's going to be in there in daylight prior to getting to the corn and beans. You know, later in the season, you got a rifle in your hand, you may just like sit back and alleviate some of that pressure and let them come to you. So it's definitely a catch-22. I think this year we've maximized the amount, like at least with the property that we have, like what we can do. Yeah. And I told Dean the same thing. I'm like, dude, this like, we're good. Yeah. Like we really are, you know, we cut in a couple smaller brassicas plots this year just to kind of test and see what the deer would do with it and stuff. And it'll be interesting to see that. But I think at this point it's like, all right, yeah, we're maxed out. If we did this every year, we'd be totally good. You know, and once again, like we have neighbors that are doing similar things. You know, some are planting more food than us. Really? Some are planting less. Yeah. I mean, wow. The one guy that doesn't love us the most, like I think he prides himself on what he feels is outplanting us essentially.
No shit, really.
and it's like whatever, like that's fine. I mean, it's more food for the deer. Like the deer they don't have property lines. They don't have boundary lines. They're going to go from food to food. So
is your food lasting through the winter and like to green up?
Last year it did for the most part. A lot of our stuff got buried though, cause we got smoked out of November. Yeah. 3 feet of snow, literally through February. It was, I mean, and we lost a lot of deer. Like Dean shed hunting, Dean and I just ourselves found like 12 deer, I think. And that was just shed hunting, like, you know, the outskirts of places and stuff. We're not going into like the thick of areas and stuff like that. Like we're just scooting around the food plots. And so there was plenty more that were lost. But like last year, I think a lot of it lasted because after November, they couldn't even get to the beans. Yeah. Like they just couldn't. And we'll brush hog some of our corn because they love it. Like it's crazy. Like you brush hog a little bit of corn that day those deer are in there. I don't know if they can smell it or I don't get it.
That is the wildest thing
It's crazy.
It's wild.
It's crazy.
It's the wildest thing. I don't know what it is, but it's like
be out there in the tractor, and then like 2 hours later, there's
they're there.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
They're there.
As soon as the tractor leaves, it's like
yeah,
it's insane.
It's wild. So we had a lot. We brush hogged a lot, and I mean all that was buried then. You can't supplemental feed even outside of the season in New York. So it's like we were actually dropping like hemlock trees because they'll hammer those.
Oh yeah.
And so like back in the timber where, you know, it's not like a needed hemlock tree or whatever. Like we were like once the snow got to a certain point, like we'd go back there and drop some of them because it was just like, give them something to eat. These deer, I don't even know how they're surviving at this point.
That's lake effect, isn't it? Off of Erie is what you're getting?
All lake effect. Yeah. I mean, we are right in the pump house of lake effect. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It's good for late season hunting, but it's not good for the deer when it gets like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It is. It's awesome. And I love hunting in snow, especially when you're sitting on corn and beans and stuff. But like when it gets to that bad, I mean, there was a majority of our spots last year that we couldn't hunt. We couldn't even get to them because you couldn't even get the tractor in to put it like plow a path or get a path into like a blind or anything like that for ourselves to get there.
Yeah.
Like it was brutal. It was brutal.
On a typical year, how many does are you guys taking off your property? Obviously, it might be a little different this year if you had a kill like that, but
not nearly enough. Probably like 6 to 8.
Okay.
I'll shoot them. My uncle will shoot them. My dad will shoot some. Dean doesn't. He won't do it. He like I don't know. I don't ask. I don't know, but he won't do it. And then we'll have like family members that want to come up and get a hunt in, or they want meat or something. Like come up and shoot a doe. You know, you can sit in a blind. I mean, you can hunt 1 or 2 times and you're going to get an opportunity at something, especially in rifle season.
That's a tough thing because, and I was talking to actually Eric Hansen about this today about killing does, and it's like you got to do it, but it's hard to do it without like blowing up your farm, like to get
it's
the
hard
numbers.
To do it.
Like, it's like I don't.
And when do you do it? Like, when do you do it? Like, honestly, I think the most opportune time is the early part of the season. But like you said, like, you're going to just whack a doe, and then it's going to go running back into the bedding area. Yeah. And then you're going to go down and track that thing, and you're going to get it out. And the buck that's been living there all summer long is down there. Or maybe he's not down there, but he comes back in, and he's going to smell you. It's just like, what? I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know. Like, yeah, when do you do it? And then, you know, if you shoot them too late, you know, you got bucks that are coming in onto the food plot, and then like, when do you go recover? It's very difficult to figure out when to take one.
What I've been doing is waiting until like the last 3 days of the holiday hunt.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, all right, I have to do it now. Like it's
right.
I have to because this is it. And you know, and then even then it's like last light, I'm like, is that buck? I'm like, where is he? Is he out here? I'm like I don't see him, but is he coming? And it's like, all right, I got 2 minutes illegal, quick, shoot one. It's like, it's tough.
Well, in last year, like the first week of December, we had bucks dropping their racks like crazy.
Did you really? Because of snow?
How quick. Yeah.
Do you think? Yeah.
It was nuts. Yikes. It was nuts. Like, we were finding sheds. Neighbors were finding sheds. We were seeing shed bucks in the fields.
Yeah.
So my dad and I were hunting, and he shot 2 doe. And, like, the whole time I'm with him, and I'm, like, on the binoculars, and I'm like, does that thing have any holes in his head? I'm like, Dad, I don't know. Let it get a little closer. We're waiting for these things to get, like, bow range, and he's hammering them with his 243.
Yeah.
But, you know, at that point, like, you don't want to shoot a shed buck. That'd be horrible. That'd be horrible. And then, like, Ohio season goes until the first Sunday in February. Yeah. And I've been with a couple buddies that, you know, want meat, that they'll shoot a doe late season. and you'll be gutting that thing, and like they're already like they're
Oh yeah.
they
are.
They've got.
Yep.
I don't know. And that's not. I'm not. Yeah, I've had a couple experiences where I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know about.
Speaking
that.
of Ohio, have you been seeing these maps of the bright red EHD outbreak that's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
No, it's not good at all. We've got permission piece down in Belmont, Ohio, which is like just north of where it's all happening, which and I'm sure it's happening there as well. We have not seen. I haven't really walked around a ton in Ohio, but I haven't like seen. We've got feed out and stuff like that, and we still got a pretty good amount of deer coming to it. So I haven't seen it up by us in Northeast, but I would say probably 8 years ago, we got smoked up in our county in Northeast Ohio. And it literally has oh yeah, maybe it was like 10 years ago at this point. But when I tell you, it literally probably took 5 to 6 years to see like anything quality back in the, like, it was 5 to 6 years easily.
Yeah.
Easily.
We have.
Yikes. What county in Ohio are you?
Geauga.
Okay.
So we live in Geauga. We hunt like Geauga. Ashtabula is like the very top northeast county of Ohio. So we hunt both.
Yeah.
And
we have
like it was like the south side of Ashtabula and Geauga that we got smoked at the end of the summer one summer, and it wasn't even worth hunting for like 2 or 3 years. It really wasn't. Not if you wanted to shoot like a quality buck, and really not if you had cared about the deer herd at all.
Right.
Because
that's the other thing.
What are you going to do? Take a deer away that there's not even any there.
It's the only one within,
Right. They need all the help they can get.
Yeah.
That's tough.
So we have a place that we've gone to it's probably been like 10 years now. We usually go for the 4-day, the late muzzleloader. And it's right in the heart of it in Athens County. And so, but my mom and my grandfather are going down, and they've already committed to it. So it's going to be what it's going to be. But I'm curious what
that stuff can be really like. Pocketed though. So you just don't know. Like you could be right in the heart of it, but you may be all right.
Yeah.
Right. Evan
saw that big 10 yesterday out behind the house, so he's alive. Yeah, he's like, oh, he looked big.
The heavy one.
The good one. Yeah. And I was like, well, that's good. He's not dead yet. Yeah. But I don't know if it's really in that. I think it's just to the east of there. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. We'll see. Have you seen it in New York?
No. Knock on wood.
I'm trying to figure out. I don't want it, but it seems like it doesn't really get very much east of Ohio, and I don't know why.
I agree. It seems like it really affects the Midwest the worst. Well, like Ohio to Indiana, Illinois, Missouri, Kansas, Iowa, like it. Because honestly, even up in North Dakota, like for as long as we've been going up there, we've seen like the winter kill off some deer because it gets so damn cold up there, like it'll freeze them out. But EHD, not so much. I got to think because it's just like the pothole region. There's so much water around there. Like it's not like deer are sharing the water, and I don't know. There's so many bugs and insects up there to begin with anyway. So I don't know if that has any effect or not, but we really haven't.
That's
seen
just
it
such
much
a
up
nightmare.
there
Imagine, like your farm in New York, like all of a sudden, like all the deer are dead, and like it sucks for 5. Like that would be so
brutal.
Like, I don't.
And I hate to say it, but I'm almost glad that we don't spend that type of time like managing land in Ohio for that reason.
Yeah.
Because I've seen it multiple times. Like I've seen it down by Columbus, a time or two. I've seen it so much in Ohio in like the last 15 years that I'm like, this is nuts.
Yeah.
And once it starts hitting, like you can't stop it. You literally can't stop it until you get like a freeze or a frost.
Yeah, it's brutal. I'm like afraid of it. I'm like, I feel for the people in Ohio and the Midwest, but I'm like, stay over there.
Yeah.
We don't need that up here.
Keep it over there.
We've
Yeah.
been lucky as far
It's
as
hard
that goes.
enough.
No.
All of the deer dying.
Exactly. They already got enough going against
I
them.
know.
Switching gears a little bit, I have another random question that I was watching some of your videos today and I noticed. Did you switch from shooting single bevels to mechanicals?
I did. Yeah.
Because usually it's like the trend has been the opposite direction, not that. So talk me through that.
Yeah. So I've shot fixed blade for years. That really my whole life. I messed around with Rage when it was like a fad, like way back in the day when they first came out. And I had a couple issues with them, but now I think with the efficiency of the bows and with how just like powerful they are, the arrow that I shoot is a mid-weight arrow, but it's got some knocking power and penetration. Like I have switched my thinking to like blasting through bone and anything in its course or in its path to like I want a blood trail at the end of the day. Like if I don't see that deer go down, I want trauma, I want hemorrhaging, and I want a blood trail. And I want the opportunity to make a marginal shot turn in my favor. And you can argue, different you can argue the pros and cons for both.
Oh yeah.
But the head that I'm shooting now is the Rec HXP, and it's very simple. It's got 5 parts to it. Like there's literally 5 parts of this broadhead, and 2 of them are the blades. One of them's the tip, and the other one is the ferrule. And then the inner like spring system that, like, it basically the blades can clip back up very easily and be reusable, similar to like a Beast broadhead. Yeah. Like they come out easy and they go back and they click back into place easy. So they're not deploying mid-flight, but at the same time, like you don't have like a collar, you don't have all these different little pieces and parts that are like holding them in place. And last year I used them, and I had great success with them. I did hit a deer high in the shoulder in Ohio later in the season that I didn't find, and he lived, and I think he would have he lived with 2 holes in him somehow, some way. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a penetration thing then.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. Like I've kind of changed my ways with that, and I've had a lot of success with fixed blades over the years, but at the end of the day, like I want a big blood trail. I want that. And I think, that entry hole is obviously the most important. 2 holes. I always used to say deer with 2 holes is not going to live. Well, I debunked that for sure last year. Unfortunately, shot myself in the foot on that one. And I think, just with the animal, like the unpredictability of the animal, your area, like shot placement, deer moving, different things. Like I want the best opportunity to clip something. Not that I'm just going to take a shot, but if what can go wrong will go wrong in the scenarios usually, I want the opportunity for my equipment to, save my back essentially.
Yeah, I think no matter what you're shooting, as long as you have a plan and you know where the strengths are of your setup and you're confident in it,
you gotta be confident in your setup.
Because I'm kind of on the 100%. Opposite end as far, I shoot a not super heavy arrow, but a heavier arrow with a fixed blade, and I'm just like, I don't want to hit it back. I want to shoot it forward. Like I'm not afraid of like any angle type of thing. But I know that I know what my strength is and I have a philosophy or a plan of how to execute, and as long as you have that, I think that, same thing. Like I could hit a deer back and have sad eyes because I'm shooting that setup, whereas you hit that deer with your setup and you're freaking high-fiving. And,
Sure.
it just depends.
And vice versa. Yeah.
You know.
No, my brother's the exact same way. Like, he's got his fixed blade set up. He shoots a little bit of a heavier arrow. He knows he likes to hold that thing tight to the shoulder and aim for the heart. And I mean, he does it. Most times he does it. And so I tip my hat to him and, let him do his thing. But like you said, at the end of the day, like, you've got to be confident in what you're going into the woods with. Yeah. And I think there's an important part of that is shooting that setup prior to going into the woods. Because, I think there's a lot of people that maybe, argue that they don't have the time or they don't want to waste a broadhead because there's so much money or this, that, whatever. But today I was shooting, we're going in the woods tomorrow. Like, I'm shooting my lighted knock, I'm shooting my broadhead, and I'm shooting at the target like multiple times in a row, multiple distances. I want to know exactly what that thing's going to do. I want to be confident in exactly what that thing's going to do. And it's once again, it's no different than pulling your bow back and aiming at a live animal. You pull your bow back and you see a broadhead on the end of that arrow. It's different.
It is, isn't it?
It's a different feel.
2 days ago, I sat there for 5 minutes and thought about that. I was shooting, and I'm like, because I have like a stack of arrows with field points, and I have a broadhead arrow, and I always shoot it in the group because I want to make sure I just mix it in there. And every time I'm looking at that thing on the front, I'm like looking at it. I'm like, oh, this is a broadhead arrow. Oh, yeah. It's like, and I'm like, what is this? I'm like, just shoot it like every other arrow. Like, look at the pin and shoot the damn bow. But I'm looking at it. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, get really fixated. Oh, this is the broadhead arrow.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
It is. It's different. It's different, man. Totally different ball game.
So run us through. So you're going to do a velvet hunt in Tennessee.
Yep.
That's pretty cool that they have. What do you know why what was the motivation? I think it's cool and awesome, but what was the motivation for that hunt? Because it's relatively new, right?
Yeah, I think this is probably the fourth year, maybe fifth year. I honestly don't really know the motive. The motivation was pure velvet, like literally a velvet hunt. As far as I know,
that's pretty wild.
To get a velvet hunt, and maybe it was to compete with Kentucky a little bit. Bordering the states. But I think it was it's purely a velvet hunt. Like, you can't shoot a doe this weekend.
Oh, you can't?
No. It's buck only. And so I think the motivation's purely velvet. So yeah, my uncle and I are going to hunt the velvet hunt this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We've got a couple good deer on camera, so we're hopeful. And then literally I'll leave Monday afternoon. I'm going to drive part way and then end up getting up to North Dakota on Tuesday, and the season starts next Friday. Dean will fly in. It's him and his wife's anniversary on Tuesday. So I'm like, dude, I got to get up there. That for sure. That I can't wait for you. Sorry. It's your fault. Your fault, man. So I'm going to drive up. I'll pick him up on Wednesday or Thursday from the airport, and then we'll be up there for a week. Come back to Ohio for like 10 days. And then I drew a Colorado elk tag this year.
Oh, nice.
So I'm going out there. My hunt starts the 21st. I'll probably head out a couple days early for that also. And then that'll pretty much take us till the end of September. The tree stand company that we're with, XOP, is doing a hunt in Wisconsin starting October 3rd. So I'll be out there for like 5 or 6 days. And then Dean and my uncle drew Kansas tags again. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to miss that. So I'm just going to film, but doing that the last week of October. And then in between times will be Ohio, maybe back to Tennessee a time or two. And then we do our annual rut week in New York will be, I think we're going to do it the second week of November again this year, because it leads into we'll do a weekend, a full week, and then it leads into the opening day of rifle season. So we kind of get the best of both worlds, and that's just, it's fun time up there to get in the woods, kind of get back to the roots and the group that got Dean and I started. We kind of promise ourselves that every year to all get back together on the home turf and go at it during the rut for a solid week or so. And then after that, it's kind of like, what tags
we'll see.
are left, and you kind of go from there.
What buck's showing
for
up
some
where
reason,
and what tags left over, and what's the weather doing?
Yeah, and Ohio always goes late, so for whatever reason, like I don't ever have like a ton of motivation to hunt Ohio earlier because like all these other states are involved, and then usually spend a lot of December and January hunting Ohio, and usually never fill a tag, so it doesn't really work out. But
dude, it's hard.
You
like,
gotta keep hunting.
It's late season, especially with a bow. It's tough.
Yeah, it's
really
hard.
Is tough.
It is.
You got to be perfect.
It is hard.
You just got to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like if you're not perfect, it's not going to work.
You got to have the right food. You got to have access. You got to, in that the deer that you're after is probably going to move like maybe 1 or 2 days in daylight. So you're like, when you think about it in that grand scheme of things, it's like, man.
And then he's probably
really
going to come in after like 8 other deer. And then you got to survive them and get a kiss.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you're like in the tree, like
trying to self-film that.
Oh my God,
like,
don't look at me. Like,
right. While you're freezing your ass off at the same time.
Yep.
It's stressful. Yeah. I killed a nice one it was January 12th in Ohio last year. And it was like, I think my heart rate was like 150 for like 3 hours. Just like that whole hunt. I was just like, because I knew, it was crazy. It was just like,
it's not easy.
It's like you're in the red zone. Like the second you step in the woods, it's like,
Then like, there had like been some deer in front of us. They were like right underneath the tree, and like everything was all right. We kind of survived. And then a little bit of time went by and nothing had happened. And then this little like 2-year-old buck just appeared out of nowhere, like underneath the tree. And he was looking right at us, and we're like, "Oh no, oh shit!" He just stomped around for a little bit and finally forgot about it and gave up. But I was like,
with the bow. It's real tough. He's gonna be perfect, but well, it's getting late. We took up a bunch of your time, and you're going hunting tomorrow, which is wild.
Sure
you're in it, man. Like you're
wild.
in it.
It's here. It's here.
I gotta wait a few more weeks, but man, you're in it. That's awesome.
It's still hard to believe, honestly. Like it really is. I'm gonna wake up when we're hunting in the morning. So
shit. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll get you off here.
It's on. It's on. No, you think I'm gonna sleep tonight? Come on, I ain't sleeping much tonight at all. It's like Christmas morning.
Heck yeah. Well, thanks for coming on, man. Good luck this year. Good luck in the morning. If you kill a big velvet deer, send us a picture. I'm sure we'll see it anyway,
we'll do. We'll do, man. I appreciate you guys having me on. It was great conversation. Great talking to you guys.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. We did. Connect with a fellow New York hunter, Northeast hunter, and kind of all over hunter, really, like us. But, hopefully you enjoyed this one, and we'll see you on the next one.